I'm Diane Hall with AARP Missouri, and I would like to welcome you to Functional Movement. This is the second week of our 8-week class that was created and is led by Tyler Ferguson, who will put the fun into functional movement. Functional movement is designed to build both strength and flexibility to carry out everyday tasks and to let you improve your fitness level regardless of where you're starting from. Now, speaking of fitness, you can find many of our previous fitness classes on Missouri's YouTube channel at youtube.com/AARPMO. Functional movement is a class that's suitable for many levels of fitness. However, you know your own limitations. Please do not try to go beyond what you know is right for you. If you have any concerns at all, please check with your doctor before participating in this or any other AARP fitness offering. Now, AARP Missouri also offers other live classes. Currently, we have a live Zumba Light class, and we have links to past programs like Forever Fit and Yoga with Tyler that you can participate in from the recordings. You can find the links to current, past, and upcoming programs at aarp.org/movingit. Now, all of our programming is created with people age 50 plus in mind, but it's a good for anybody at any age, anywhere. AARP hopes that our fitness classes like functional movement will be great options for anyone who may not be able to or who may be hesitant to attend a traditional fitness class, like a caregiver, or if you have health concerns, or just for the convenience of working out at home. In addition to our online fitness classes, AARP also has resources for caregivers, up-to-date COVID-19 information, and technology information on our website at aarp.org/near you. Now, let's get started with functional movement. Our instructor is Tyler Ferguson. Tyler, let the fun begin.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. All right, we're going to get started standing. And again, I mentioned earlier, if you're comfortable being barefoot, that means socks off as well. Come to your bare feet. I want your feet to be about hips distance apart. And notice if your toes are tracking forward. And as long as you don't have any pain, can you make adjustments to get those toes to track forward? Rock back and forth in your feet a little bit. Just take a moment. That rocking back and forth can help you just spread out the bottom of the foot a little bit and get a more surface contact. And then pause and stand up where it feels comfortable for you to stand. And take a moment just to notice where the weight is in your feet. There's 4 places that I'll cue where the weight is. The weight could be forward and in your toes. It could be back into your heels, or your feet could be, your weight could be on the outside edges of your feet. And the way you'll feel that is the big toe mound will be lifted, or the weight could be on the inside edges of your feet and your piggy toe mound will feel lifted. I'm over exaggerating here. So can you bring your weight so that all 4 of those areas of the feet feel equally involved in supporting you? And making any adjustments, and then lift and lengthen through the spine. If it's comfortable for your shoulders, I'd like you to take your hands and put them right on your ribs. And I like to hook my thumbs, and then that way I can relax in my shoulders when I do this. If you're unable to hook your thumbs, this is a little bit more work. You don't have to put your hands on the ribs too. We can do this without it. We're going to start with a breathing exercise. So all I want you to do is inhale through your nose. Pause for a second at the top of your breath and exhale through your mouth. Now I want you to continue doing that. So I'm not going to cue your inhale and exhale. I want you to find that on your own. Instead, I'm going to have you look for a couple of things as you do this breathing work with me. 1, when you inhale, notice if there's an upward movement in your shoulders or your ribs or your scapula. So if there's an upward movement, the primary thing I want you to work on is trying to let go of any of that movement and just expand the lungs outward, not have this upward elevation of the shoulders. If you're not having any upward elevation of the shoulders and you can move on in experiencing this breath, the next thing I want you to feel is that your breath is moving into your rib cage, and the rib cage is expanding laterally to the sides. And maybe visualize your rib cage is like cabinet doors opening on the inhale, and then the rib cage is closing on the exhale. Inhale, the rib cage expands. Exhale, the rib cage comes together. Great. Now, as you're doing this work, as you get into the work, if you feel lightheaded or anything like that, just back out, because the breath work, if you're kind of overdoing it or overthinking it, you can maybe get a little lightheaded. So be aware of that. Also, try not to lock out your legs when you're doing this work. Stay nice and soft in the knees. Then the last thing I'm going to encourage you to do here is on your exhale, if you're feeling this opening and closing of the rib cage, I'm going to ask you to exhale a little more than you normally would. And you can even use your hands to help close the rib cage, which will make more space for the inhale. Pause, exhale. Again, if you start to get lightheaded, just don't go as deeply in the work. 1 or 2 more rounds here. So we're just trying to mobilize the rib cage and make sure that it's responding to the inhalation and the exhalation, and you're getting room with the rib cage moving rather than trying to lift the shoulders and pull in the air or make room by lifting the shoulders, right? Engaging the scapula. All right, last round, let's go shake it all out. Let's begin moving with our breath. Inhale, bring your arms out to the sides. If you have a shoulder injury, you're gonna stay right here with me out to the sides. Exhale your arms down. You could also inhale your arms out in front if you don't wanna reach overhead. Exhale, bring your arms down to the side. If your shoulders feel healthy, inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. And exhale down. Move at your own pace. We're going to do this about 3 more times. So don't wait for me. Just take your inhale and your exhale when you want. Some of you, when your arms are overhead, they're going to be a little bit more in front. That's okay if that's where your comfort level is. For some of you, when you inhale, you might be able to bring your biceps right up toward your ears and reach overhead. So just work in a zone that's best for you. Lastly, some of you, when you reach up overhead, your arms are going to look a little bit more like a Y, and that's going to feel best for you. Just move where it feels okay. Exhale, arms down. Now let's bring the arms up into the air, if that feels comfortable, and start to reach through opposite sides. So we're just stretching out the side body. If you're new to this workout, we're going to have a juicy warm up. We're going to spend 20 minutes warming up before we get into the work. And this is the juicy warm up. So I like to call this reaching for the stars. And you might visualize plucking a star, pulling it down, plucking a star, and then maybe thinking about who you want to send that star to. There have been studies shown that people are more efficient or effective in their workouts when they visualize working out for another person. So maybe add that to your intention today. You're working out for someone else. And let's release. Bring your fingertips back behind your head, open up your elbows, and then notice that you don't have any pressure on the neck or the head. The fingers are gently resting here, and pull the elbows back just a little bit and release. So you're opening up your heart, opening up your chest, and you're bringing the scapula or the shoulder blades toward one another as you bring the elbows back. Just work back in a zone that feels safe to you and keep breathing. So 2 rules: always breathe, keep breathing. If you can connect breath with movement, you've learned a lot in this class. And then also keep a soft bend in the knees, don't lock out. Now pause with me with the elbows open. Take your right ear, down to your, take your right elbow down to your right side. Can you guys hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay. Good, thank you. Right elbow down to right side and then back up. So notice as the one elbow goes down, the other responds by reaching up into the air. So think about the elbow that's reaching up to the air and think about creating length. We often cue separating your rib cage from your pelvis. So think about the length that you're creating. And then also imagine you're being pulled from the top of your head and the bottom of your feet, so that each time you bend over, you're getting longer through the spine. You're not compressing and getting shorter. So we're just moving the spine in this lateral flexion motion. Last time, bring yourself back up to center, and then bring your hands back behind your back. Good. So have a soft bend in the elbows here, and then work on opening this chest space. So you might take your shoulders and round them open and back. And just pause for a moment and enjoy having the arms in this different position and opening up your chest. Breathe into that. If you can't bind your hands, you can just put the backs of your hands on your seat somewhere. So taking that move, whatever works best for you, and then reach your hands back behind your head. Let's work laterally and on the other side of the body. Good. So notice when you bend over to the side, can you still keep the bottoms of both feet on the ground as you do that? So you don't want to be lifting the heel up. And then maintaining that idea of length. So the crown of the head is still reaching up and long and away as you move. Laterally in the other direction. Let's go 2 more here. Now remember, if there's your shoulders get tired or they don't feel good, crossing your arms on the body here is always a modification that works in this move. I said 2 more and I did 1 more, didn't I? That's all right. We're going to release, bring your arms down to your sides. We're going to go into shoot and round. So hands come together, shoot your fingertips forward, gaze at your thumbs, and round and open your back. So you'll notice this is the reaching motion. Your scapula are going to move away from each other, scapula or your shoulder blades. And then separate the hands, pull the heart forward. Shoulder blades move together in the back. So this is your pulling motion. So let's do that 2 more times. Open up your back ribs, back space, shoot, eye gaze at the thumbs, and release, pull the heart forward. Now let's just change how this feels a little bit. Reach and pull. Reach and pull. So those are functional movements, reaching for items and pulling for items. And we want our scapula or our shoulder blades to glide on our rib cage as we do those reaching and pulling movements. So if you can visualize maybe your rib cage, the 2 parts sliding away from each other, then sliding toward one another. Last time, reach and pull. Great job. Drive your knuckles down. Let's just get a little neck work. Right ear goes down to right shoulder. Chin down, bend the knees. Left ear goes down to left shoulder. So my left ear is at my left shoulder. So I'm feeling this nice stretch on the right side, not bringing my shoulder up. Shoulders pull away from ear. Chin down and switch. Let's start. Right ear, right shoulder. Left jaw pulls up and away. That helps with that lengthening sensation. Chin down and switch. Left ear to left shoulder. Right jaw pulls up and away. Let's connect breath with movement. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to switch it. And exhale. And inhale, bring yourself right back to the middle. Let's come into chair pose. You don't have to go deep into your chair pose. Just sit back like you're going into a chair. Put your hands right on your thighs. We're going to isolate the pelvis. So as if you had a tail, you're going to tuck your tail down towards the heels. Your back will flatten out a little bit. And then you're going to lift your tail up and see how the back will arch a little bit. So just move there in that range. Just a little anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. So just trying to get your pelvis to move. And then notice what muscles you use to move your pelvis. I've been exploring this lately. It's interesting. So you can move your pelvis with your core, but can you go jelly belly, belly belly? And can you move your pelvis with your hamstrings? You could also squeeze your glutes and move it, but can you pull on your hamstrings to pull your pelvis down? If not, don't worry about it. It's just something to think about for people. We're still mobilizing the pelvis. And let's come to standing after that. And hip roots. Hands go right on the hips. I'm going to drop my hips back, not directly to the side of the room and not directly behind me. I'm going to split the difference off to the side and then stand up nice and tall. Inhale, exhale, hip root in the opposite direction. Keep breathing. Like if I don't cue breath, keep breathing. You don't have to hold it. And then stand up nice and tall. Big inhale, exhale. You're going to sit back. Now let's get a little swish. So you're going to change from the left side to the right side just by swishing back. Like you had a paintbrush and you're painting the wall behind you. Probably not the most efficient way to paint, but you can maybe visualize that. And then return to your start position and come up nice and tall. When you stand tall, think about opening up the front of your hips. So we're going to do a lot of squats today. So think about taking this space and really opening it up. Let's hip root to the opposite side. And then move into your swishes when you're ready. Sometimes, and if you want to pause and really kind of floss out a place that just feels good to you, go ahead and do that. Come back to your original start position and then stand tall. Part of standing tall is driving your feet down into the ground and finding this extension in the hips. So I really want you to look and search for bringing the hips forward, but notice if you get too into it and you start to arch the back. We're not looking to arch the back. We're just looking to extend the hips. All right, super duper. Let's go down to our toes and work on our toes a little bit. Lift and separate all 10 of your toes. Can you pull them up off the ground and can you pull them away from each other? I'm doing this with my hands to try to mimic what I'm doing with my toes. And then place them down on the mat. You can look down at your toes while you do this. So we want to be able to articulate and control the toes. Again, this time when you lift them, try to pull them forward, like you're trying to make your feet a little bit longer. There's a pair of shoes you love. You want to pull them longer, make them fit into those shoes, and then press them down into the floor. One more time, lift and lengthen through the toes. Now take your big toes and push down. Lift them up. Big toes, push down. Push, lift them up. Final time, big toes, push down and lift them up. You might feel some movement or some sensation in the calf muscle. Let's go to our piggy toe. Piggy toe pushes down, lifts up. You'll see that I don't have a lot of control over my piggy toe. Some other toes want to join it. My piggy toe doesn't like to do work by itself. Lift it up. Last time, piggy toe goes down and lift it up. Lift, lengthen through your toes one more time. Place them down on the mat spread. Now the bottom pads of your toes should be down. Now hug those pads toward your heels. Do not curl under. Just hug the pads towards the heels. Just see little toe knuckles happening and feel your arches get strong. Now from there, look forward, lift up, stand nice and tall with those grippy or smart toes, and then release your smart toes. Roll in now, something different, roll into the inside edge of your feet. Your knees might go together a little bit, outside edges come up, and then roll to the outside edges, inside comes up. And then move back and forth between those two places. Now, I always encourage you to have a chair nearby. And if there's a balance challenge here and you want to use your chair to support this work, feel free to hold on to a wall. Otherwise, we'll get a little bit of ankle mobility going on here. And I don't know about you, but this feels so good on the outsides of my legs, this big stretch on the outer lower leg muscles. And one more time, and bring your toes back down. Last footwork exercise. You're just going to lift the heel of one foot. Notice the knee goes forward. Your big toe and piggy toe mound stay down, and then lift it in the other foot. So it's kind of like a walking motion. So it's like marching, but you're keeping your big toe and piggy toe mound down on the ground. A little ankle mobility in this direction. Just a couple more times here. And then feel free to use a wall or something for balance, or just come still, pick a gazing point, and you're going to lift up both heels at the same time, and then try to lower with control back down to the floor. Press up, lifting heels off the ground. Oops, I lost my balance, and then lower back down on the floor with control. Now, let's make it a little bit more challenging. Lift the heels, lower down, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2 more times. Press up, lift, lower down, 4, 3, 2. I'm trying to watch myself on the screen and I'm losing my balance. So if you're watching me on the screen, try picking a point and laser your focus on the point and just listen. Lift up the heels, lower down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Let's march it out. All right, we got our spine warmed up, we got our toes warmed up. Let's get ready to work out. So it's gonna be a series of squats and lunges today. We're just gonna come into a little squat, just like we did before, a little chair pose, and then stand up nice and tall. So the first thing I want you to do is just find the depth that works for you in your squat and the speed that works for you. So if you want to go a little bit faster than me, that's fine. When I start talking, I speed up and I get excited and I start moving faster. If I do that, don't worry about the speed that I'm moving, just move at your speed. So I want you to find a range that you can work in where you don't have pain. If you're feeling pretty good with this and you want to add some layers of complexity on, notice that every time I squat down, I press my hands into my thighs. And every time I stand up, I drive my knuckles down and I'm firing my tricep. All right. So I drive the knuckles down and bam, I fire my tricep. So we can get just a little bit of upper body here, even though we're doing these lower body squats. Start to connect your breath to your movement. So typically I inhale lower and I exhale stand. But as long as you're breathing, whatever makes sense to you, as long as you're breathing, that's right. You are doing the right thing. So just be intuitive, take the breath work in a way that works for you. Just a couple more here, 3. We're gonna go back to this exercise 2, and we'll coach it just a little bit deeper. Great, stand tall, just move your feet a little bit before we move into the next exercise, and then come to stillness. You're just gonna step out to the side and step back. Now, some of you, we're just working on moving laterally because that's where you need to be in your life, moving laterally. So some of you might stay right here and keep doing this. If you want a bit more of a challenge, I want you to step wide and squat. And I'm sorry. Step wide and squat and stay there. Wide squat, stand up. Wide squat, stand up. Some of you might just stay right here with a wide squat, or you might go wide and come back. Step wide and come back. So I've given you 3 options here, just to step out to the side and come back. You can step out to the side and stay without moving side to side, or you can do this more dynamic exercise, stepping out wide, coming into a squat and coming back. I'm gonna go 5 more. What I want you to look for here, your pelvis is equally between the feet and both knees are bending the same amount. So it's not a lunge. One leg is not staying straight. It's a squat. So both knees are bending and you're coming back. 2 more. And of course, breathe with your movement. And that's 1. Let's march it out. We're gonna take that exact same exercise on the other side. So we'll just start, pattern the movement first. All right, step left. So let your body know where you're going. I'm stepping to the left. Now I want to make a point here. Some people might step and turn their toe out, okay? So that's something you can work on. Think about leading with the heel and leading with kind of the back side of your hip so you can maintain your toes forward. Some of you might step and stay wide and this stationary. Now you can keep moving side to side. I'm just moving on to another thing. I want you to pick the thing that's good for you. Some might just stay in the stationary wide squat, or the final offering here is squat wide, stand narrow, step and squat wide. So this is the more complex of the 3. Just choose the one that works for you. Coaching this more complex one, some of the things you're looking at doing is keeping the pelvis centered between the feet. So trying not to send the pelvis with the foot that goes, but being able to balance in between, and then keeping your toes forward. When you're squatting, it's about bringing your seat down to the floor, not your shoulders down to the floor. So when we squat on the other side, we're going to unpack that a little bit, but I want to be able to read your t-shirt. So you want to keep your chest up as much as you can. 2 more. 2 and 1. Come back to the center. And we're gonna march it out here before we do our first balance challenge. Balance challenge number 1, if you wanna use some chair or something to hold on to, you may. You're gonna put your weight into the leg, one leg, my left leg here, and I have a soft micro bend in the knee. I'm not locked out. Soft micro bend in the left leg. Heel comes up in the right leg. Spin the right knee out. And then just slide the foot up. So the very, very tip, you can have as much toe as you want. But what I really want you to do is if you're doing all this, I want you to get that toe down on the ground for a little kickstand. And then work on standing tall. And if you're looking at me, look below the computer or on the floor and find that gazing point. We'll work on balance. Bring your hands into prayer. And you can slide your foot up your leg and use as little contact as you want from that opposite side to work on balance. Now, the leg that you're standing on, hug that glute muscle to the bone without locking out the knee. Good, and draw the navel in as if you're working from your core a little bit. And if you want more of a challenge, you can take your hands wide and reach up. If you're holding on to something for balance, this isn't for you. Just work where you are. Hands can go wide and come back together. And let's step it out. I see some creative, I love the pole, the ski pole or the walking pole for balance. It's super awesome. I really like that better than a chair. Yeah, I use a foam roller for the same thing. Awesome work. All right, we're gonna take our balance on the other side. So new plant leg, soft bend in the knee. Now, when we get a plant leg, sometimes we shift our weight or we hinge forward. So really stand tall in that plant leg, lift the other heel up and start to bring the foot close to the body. You can have a lot of support down here or slide the foot up and have just a little bit of support. So make your choice. So you want to have enough of your opposite foot coming down or enough support help with your balance so that you can feel your ankle kind of like my ankle is kind of wiggling all around. I'm micro firing, or I'm getting these little firings down here. But I still want to be able to perform this sort of one-legged stance if possible. So bringing your foot up into the inside of your thigh, if you're crashing around all over the place, isn't really the goal here. Sometimes we hold our breath when we balance. So just make sure you're breathing. And remember, if you want more of a challenge, you can move the arms around to challenge the arms. And release. Step it down to the side. We're going to come back into our squat again. And once again, remember, the squat is about bringing the seat down to the floor, not bringing the chest down, okay? So we're not bringing our shoulders down to the floor, trying to keep our shoulders up as much as possible and bring our seat down. Good. So take your feet just a teeny bit wider. Look back over your shoulder and then stand tall, look forward. When you squat, look over your right shoulder and then stand tall. So get used to turning your head. So there's a little neck rotation exercise and a little eye exercise. As you look behind the shoulder, you can feel the eye muscles working to look in that far side of the eye socket. As you drive and stand tall, I want you to find the space in front of both heels, right before you go into the arch, kind of in the inside of your foot. Try to drive through in that zone right there. Awesome. Now, there's a gift right down to the side of you. Let's pick it up and hold it. All right. So again, we had that theme of maybe working out with another person in mind or sending strength to someone else, like generating power here and sharing it with another person. So whether you're looking at the screen or you have somebody else in mind, let's take this gift and let's share it. Pass it right through the computer to your neighbor. Reach and share. Squat down, rotate, reach and share, rotate the other direction. Squat down and reach. Each time you stand, you should feel that downward motion of the legs, driving the heels through the heels to come to standing. Let's go one more here. Inhale, exhale, come back to the middle. I want you to start to swing your arms. And you can march a little bit if that helps, or keep your feet as still or as marchy as you want. But I want you to put your mind in your rib cage. Try to get your rib cage to really rotate on the axis of your spine. It's fine if your hips move, but I want the movement to come more from the upper body, more from the rib cage. Yeah, so really swing the arms and get that rotation. Again, hips can go too, but the rib cage is driving the movement. So we just want to free that up, move nice and free. Free through that area. 3, 2, and 1. Take your feet into a slightly wider stance again. Let's get right back into our squats. Hopefully you're squatting at a depth and a speed that is beneficial for you. I started talking, I may have sped up my squats. I told you I'm going to do that. Yeah, so remember, you're in charge of you. You are your own boss. Move at the speed and depth that works for you. Let's look back over that other shoulder. What's back there? Yep, and stand tall. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to perform two things here. In our upper body, we have that twisting rotational motion, right? Our eyes are going, our neck is rotating, our rib cage is rotating a little bit. But in our lower body, we're still performing a squat, right? We're not twisting in the lower body to look behind us, twisting in the upper body. All right, let's grab that gift. Maybe this time visualize what that is. Maybe it's courage, maybe it's gratitude, maybe it's strength or hope, whatever it is that you want to be or you want to put out into the world. So start to embody that visualization. Yep. Fill yourself up with that thing, whatever it is, that thing that you want to distribute. You guys ready? Let's share it. Let's share it somewhere else. So maybe it's to the person working on the right side of you. Doesn't matter if their camera is on or off. Doesn't matter if you know who they are. Just today, you're sharing a little piece of you, something to maybe help them get through their day, help them get through a stumble. Or maybe you're just sharing your gratitude, witnessing your gratitude for the ability to show up, take care of yourself, take care of your wellness, whatever it is. Good. Let's do a few more. Reach and sit back, twist and share it away. And last time, reach and sit back, twist and share it away. All right. Let's step it out a little bit. Now, we're doing pretty much the same class as last week. Next week, week number 3, I'm going to add arms. I'm going to add a little bit more cardio. I want you to just get used to these patterns, these 2 weeks. We'll keep on every 2 weeks. We'll keep on adding stuff. Let's go into our second balance challenge. Come down into your chair pose. Take hold on to something for balance. Shift your weight into your left leg. Peel up the right heel. Find your gazing point. Lift the right knee and tap the right toe out in front, and then come back and tap. Take the right foot out to the right side. Tap and come back to the center. Take the foot straight behind you and tap and come to the center. Now you're going to reach behind the left foot and tap and come to the center. Stand up nice and tall. We're going to go right back to that same leg one more time. I'm going to give you an option today, a variation today. Come into your squat, or I'm sorry. Load your left leg, peel up the right heel. So we have an option. You can tap and touch base here, or you can hover. Tap, touch base, or hover. Tap, touch down or hover. Reach and tap behind, hover or touch down, and then come to standing. Okay, so did you see that option? So that little tap helps us get our balance back, but if you're feeling really good, you can hover. Let's balance on the other side, take it on the other side. Peel up left heel, and we're gonna take left foot forward and then tap back to center, tap out to the side, tap back to center. We wanna keep this balanced leg, tap back to center. No matter how we move, we wanna keep this balanced leg loaded. Tap behind and tap back to center. Come back to standing. We're gonna do that one more time, same way we just did it, or I'm gonna offer you the hover challenge. Weight goes into the right leg, slight bend in the right knee, left heel peels up, tap and hover. tap, and hover. Tap behind and hover, and tap behind and hover, and we're going to come back to standing. Okay, let's move into our curtsy squat today. Let's take the right leg, bring it back behind, and then perform a little squat and take your tap back. Actually, let's do this. Let's come behind. We're going to stay here, and you're going to squat and stand tall. So this is that one we talked about it last week. I almost feel like the static one could be a little bit more challenging. So you have an option of just playing right here in this little curtsy, or you can curtsy, come back to center. Curtsy, come back to center. You can have your arms out for balance. You can be delicate like you're in a ballet. That's fine, right? So we're loading this leg, reaching the foot back behind. Yeah, feel graceful. Maybe draw the navel into the spine a little bit and work out of your core. Feel what it feels like to work out of your core. Beautiful. I see some cameras on. I see some improvisational hands and wrists. Yeah, embody this. Enjoy it. Own it. Good. 2. And let's go. 1 more. Beautiful. That was so cool, you guys. It was really fun to see. March it out for a second. We'll find out on the other side. Again, you have the option, for some of you, if you're just mapping this out, what you might do is load, step behind, and then just hold on to something and go, what does it mean to lower down and stand back up? Now, I want to make something really clear. The front leg is where the weight is. So we're getting used to these little kickstands all over the place without shifting where the work is happening. The work is in the front leg, and I'm driving through the heel. I'm not up on my toes. I'm not on the ball of the foot. My toes are down, but I'm driving through that front inner edge of the heel. All right, so then we can make it dynamic. So we can step behind and then come to standing. Step behind and come to standing. Beautiful. And then you can add your breath or move with your breath. Move your arms in whatever way feels good to you. Yeah, play around with your fingers, how you want to hold your hands. Nice and graceful through the arms. Just have fun with it. Just play. Let's go. 3 and 2 and 1 and come back to center. Awesome job, everybody. Let's move into our wide straddle work. You're just going to take your toes out, then your heels out, then your toes, and then your heels until you come to a distance where your feet are wider than your shoulders, but it still feels pretty safe to you. And then your toes are going to turn out just a little bit. I want you to pull your hips back behind your heels and then pull your right hip behind your right heel. Actually, I had you turn your toes out. You might turn the knee that's bent, you might turn that toe forward. So this is different than that wide squat we did, okay? This is a lunge. One leg is long, the other leg is bent, all right? So we're just gonna just do these little pulses here. And what I want you to feel in this pulse is that it's your backside working. Find that heel, make the connection in your brain down into that inside front part of the heel and feel maybe the hamstring working and your glute working to bring you up. I don't want you on your toes. And I don't want your knee and quad working here. Okay, so that can take some time. It might take 8 weeks to make that change in your body. All right, now let's go from those little pulses to stand tall. Both legs are straight. Bend one knee, stand tall. So as we get into a bigger range of motion, you might have to think your way out of that pattern again. What works for me is to pull my right glute back behind my right heel rather than driving my right knee forward. That works for me. So we're gonna lower, stand tall. You want some tricep work? That's fine. Push off, drive your knuckles down. Good. If you straighten out your arms as much as you can, you'll feel the triceps and biceps hug to the bone. And then connect your breath with your movement. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press. Remember how we talked about when we stand tall, opening up the fronts of the hips? But just think about slightly bringing the hip bones forward and squeezing the glutes to support this work. Keep breathing, my friends, and only go as low or as slow or fast as you want. 3, and 2, and 1. Come back up to center. Let's do some big, juicy hip circles right from there. Now, again, this week, this is staying as a static exercise. Over the next courses of the weeks, we're going to bring our arms up overhead. That'll add more cardio, and then we'll make it more dynamic where we're stepping. Okay, let's find this on the other side. So the straight leg can turn out a little bit, but the bent leg, toes are a little bit more forward. Pull your hips back behind your heel. Slide your left hip behind your left heel. So let's just pulse here. Just a little pulse to see if you can connect your foot to the ground and then notice where you're pushing from. So right away, if you're pushing off your toes, try to sit back, find it more in your heel. Notice if your knee and your quad muscle are doing the work. If your quads were sore last week, it means your front side was doing the work. We're trying to get the back side to do the work. All right, so a little bit of time to wake that up. Now let's go a little bit taller. Squeeze your glutes at the top, stand tall. Lower and tall. No pain, all right? Pain is not allowed. So if it's not feeling great to you and you're just pushing it, please try to make an adjustment so you can either do this without pain or, consider asking somebody, a professional, for a little bit of help. So this is a lunging movement. So I like to think about this movement. In fact, my student told me, actually several students have mentioned, like they'll be at the stove and then they have to go down into the spice cabinet and then they're right back at the stove. I don't know, that was how one person took class and then embodied it just in their daily life. And that's what we're doing. We're strengthening ourselves. We're mapping out these safe movements and then strengthening these safe movements. So our everyday activities, fixing my headphones, this is still okay with the arms. So our everyday activities just feel better, just feel easier to do. We have more strength. Let's go 3 and 2 and last one. Good job. All right, let's toe heel the feet together and then come into our hip circles. This time, go ahead and let the feet roll a little bit so you don't have to keep them so planted on the ground. Good. And then we're going to toe heel back out to a wide stance one more time before we do our cool down. So come out to the wide stance. Hip hinge the hip. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Turn the toes out. And then we're going to bring our pelvis down towards the ground. The knees are going to bend. And then you're kind of pulling your knees out towards your piggy toes and bring your hands to prayer in front of you or hold on to something for balance. It doesn't matter. So we're just going to lower our seat down and then straighten out. You'll feel your quads turn on, they'll strengthen your knees here or the muscles around your knees, and then lower and press up. So as you press up in this one, think about the inner thighs hugging, maybe even as you stand, suck or drag your feet toward one another. They don't actually move, they just feel like they're going to move. Most important thing here, your back is sliding down a wall, right? So you're not hinging forward. Your chest isn't moving forward beyond your hips here, or it's like you're on a carousel horse. So you're just lowering down. So I have a friend here who's got a bandana on with a closet in the background. So you're bringing your chest a little, forward here. Yeah, so try to stay upright. Maybe don't go down as low. Yeah, there you go. Better, good. So just a few more here. Pause with me in this lower position. Pause with me here and play with this, right? Feel like you're a ninja or a spider person. Now, watch this. Right heel lifts and lowers. Lift and lower. You can hold on to something for balance. It's that lowering down. You want to have control. You don't want to just go down. You want to have control in your deceleration, lowering down. Great ankle strengthening exercise. Let's stand up tall. Work through the hips before we do the other side. Yeah, we're going to add on to these every week. We're going to do more reps. We're going to do both heels at the same time. It's coming. Let's go back down. Bending the knees. Left heel. Let's go up for 5. Lower down with control. And 4. Lower down with control. 3, lower down with control. And 2. And 1. This is part of the walking gait, right? And stand tall. Good, little wiggle in the hips. Now, hinge at the hips, pull them back. Let's lean over to that right side again, like we were doing that side lunge. And then we're gonna shift and lunge to the other side. So again, it's like you have a paintbrush pointing out of the back side of your seat, and you're just scraping against the wall, just lunging side to side. You can keep your chest pretty upright on this. You don't have to go so hinged over. You can, but you don't have to. I tend to do it when I teach it, but you can be more upright. We're just moving, shifting our weight side to side. Last time. And then let's come to standing tall. Let's exit by heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in. Good. Circle sweep your arms up. Look up. Exhale, arms down the side. Stand wide. Point your fingers forward. Good. Charlie's Angels. Bring the tips of your finger to your shoulder. Take your eyeballs to the tips of your fingers and then point. Look at the tips. Take it the other direction, other shoulder. So it's just as important. Bend elbows, move arms, and then rotate neck. Use your eyeballs. So now we're looking down and inward with our eyes. Before we were looking up and out with our eyes. Maybe if you can just tap in for a moment, you can feel the muscles in your neck and the eyes working as we point and shoot. I know I'm running over just a minute, guys. My apologies. Just a couple seconds. When I drop my thing, just keep going. And then final move. We're right in this kind of chair pose here. Gonna reach your right arm or forward and pull it in. Reach it forward, pull it in. Just single arm pulls. Reach and pull. You're having your forearm kind of brush along your rib cage. So from here, the elbow's just driving straight back, not out. 2 and 1. Same move, other side. Reach and pull. Reach and pull it back in. Connect your breath to your movement. Good work. If you need to stand up while we're doing this and go back down, that's okay. Or if you want to stay and work in your squat, whatever works with you. 2 and 1. All right, stand super tall. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, bring your prayer in front of your face. Tuck your chin, tuck your shoulders, and start to roll through your spine. Down, forward fold. Now, some of you might keep your head right above your heart and stay right here. For others, you might go just a little bit lower, stretching out the low back. Let your arms hang heavy. And then we're going to grab opposite elbows and let the head hang heavy. You can even slightly move your elbows side to side. And then release there. Place your hands back on your thighs. No, I'm sorry. Let your arms hang long. My apologies. Let fingers hang long. And then peel up. So you're trying to unroll from the hips. Head is heavy. Shoulders are heavy. Fingers are heavy. Chin is heavy. You're trying to unroll your spine and come to standing. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, whoosh. Inhale them up. Exhale, whoosh. Inhale them up. Exhale, whoosh. 2 more. Exhale, mouth. Last one. And release and let it go. All right, that concludes our work. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a pleasure. I'll see you next week.